Welcome to Ads and Tales, the podcast where we explore tales from the world of B2B ads. This is your host Sid, and I will bring you the insights, experiences, and strategies from those who have been in the trenches to help you excel in your marketing efforts. So sit back, relax, and join us for some great tales from the world of B2B ads. This is Ads and Tales. Sid, if you want to be a good marketer, build yourself on facts. Build any plan on facts. Lead on facts and you will seldom fail. This was what a mentor had to say a few years back. Not exactly a profound quote, but somehow it stayed with me. Honestly, I did not take it too seriously at that time. But with experience, I realized that this was quite a critical learning, especially in the world of B2B marketing. And that is when I realized maybe this is why he hired a budding marketer with a science background. That was my introduction. Ever since I've got into marketing, there's an amazing parallel that I have seen between marketing and science, and particularly physics. So I was a very keen science student back in the days who was bitten by this marketing bug, which has mutated into the B2B marketing nerd, which I am today. So I thought, why not take this episode and talk about a physics concept, which is applicable hugely in marketing, and the concept is called friction. So as I was reading through this, I found a lovely piece by Wes Cow, the co-founder of Maven, and I've used parts of this as I walk you through all that I have today. So let's get going on the concept of friction and marketing. Friction, as you know, is a key lever on getting customers excited, hungry to buy, ready to say yes or no, and things like that. And I take you back to my initial days in my digital career when I was first introduced to the concept. This was back in 2016-17 when there was a revamp of the My Vodafone app when I was working at Vodafone, and a key metric that we had to influence was revenues. And one insight that the team had, I was obviously a novice back then, so the insight that the team had was there was a high drop-off percentage by the time someone went onto the payments page. So what we did was reduce the number of steps it took for the customers to reach that payment page, making it easy for them to choose the plan. Now, as a marketer or a founder, a big part of your job becomes to reduce friction. How do you reduce friction? A lot of times people say make the button bigger, write shorter copy, give discounts, incentivize, reduce clicks in the funnel, as I had just mentioned. But there's a problem to it. The problem is that you made it easy. But sometimes the customers still don't want to buy what you're selling. The logic for reducing friction is, if I make this a little easier, someone will eventually want it and therefore buy it. But there is a fundamental flaw attached to it as well, particularly in the B2B environment. And for that, we have to take a step backward. And this is what Wes has also called, and I would also like to term it as a demand versus friction model. So let's break it down. Increasing demand, or the demand side of the demand versus friction model, is getting your customers hungry and excited to buy or prepping them up for the purchase. On the other side of it is friction, that you have to decrease friction. And decreasing friction is actually reducing the obstacles there are towards buying your product or solution. Good marketers focus on decreasing friction. Absolutely true. But the best ones also focus on creating demand. So to be clear, decreasing friction is good. I have nothing against it. You want to remove obstacles, you want to remove the confusing UX, you want to remove the slow page speed, the maximum, the high load times. There are too many clicks, so you have to reduce that, so on and so forth. Absolutely important. The problem is that 80% of the founders or marketers, as per my experience, only reduce friction. And decreasing friction is often not enough. And you can ask why. You obviously should. And I have this lovely example of the samosa shop, the chaat shop close to my place. That place always has a queue. People always lined up. If I give that guy the friction concept, one thing that he undoubtedly will tell me is that because there is a queue, that is why my samosa sells. Decreasing friction ignores that people are willing to jump through hoops for what they really want. They're willing to go the extra mile, pay a little more if required, do the extra work to get to you, try harder to get the things that they want. So you could have the fastest page load times in the world, but the customer still might not care. So coming back to our own world, lots of products are free and you still don't want them. There are a lot of apps, tools, newsletters that cost next to nothing. But are you itching to download them or sign up? Another example that I found on Wes's article, which was absolutely legendary, was Harvard. So Harvard makes you jump through too many hoops to get to it. Letters of recommendations, multiple essays, hundreds of dollars to take the SAT, thousands of dollars in tuition fee. You never hear the dean say that let's remove these requirements because it is creating friction. They know their value and they bet on the fact that you will too. So, to drive growth, reducing friction is sometimes not enough. You have to create demand. Reducing friction is important. The problem is it has a ceiling. You can only do that much. You can reduce the steps to a certain extent. You can reduce your copy to a certain level. And this is why creating demand is important, because that is where there is no ceiling. And creating demand is not just about making your product better. Obviously, that is important too. But this is about crafting a story that the customer tells themselves and probably their friends and colleagues as well about you. Give them reasons to get excited. Give them the reason to feel a FOMO. Educate them on your sphere of knowledge. Make them understand that you know your shit, the place you are selling in, and give them reasons to say yes. This is essentially what creating demand is. I've realized that we are able to do that in three different ways, and the three smart ways rather. Number one is if you position well, help other people get where they want to go. Be the supporting actor, never the hero in your story. And one thing that a lot of founders and often marketers are unwilling to do is developing a spiky point of view. Have a different point of view. Don't pitch the same thing as everyone else. You have your time in the elevator, say something different to stand out. Teach them something that they don't already know. Something where they will say that that's a different way of doing things. Let's hear you out. One thing is for sure, they will remember you. And if they remember you, they will come back. If not today, 6 months down the line. So that is the power that positioning can give you. The second thing and very important one is building the brand. Now, building the brand has 10, 100,000 different meanings. The one that I'm talking here about today is once you have your point of view, once you have your POV, make it apparent in everything you do. You have that spiky point of view, how you write, how you are seen, how your team speaks at conferences, how your creatives look, how you deliver your sales pitch. Everything has to have a flavor of the spiky point of view that you are having or the position you are taking in the market. If everything is in sync, people will remember your point of view from the last time they saw you, and that is how you build a brand. And the third and the final one, which essentially becomes the third leg to the position brand, and the third one called market, is once you know your customers or ICP, you have to know and understand and watch them and see where is it that their eyes light up. So it's not about what you want to say or what message you want to give. It's actually about what gets them excited. It's about what they are excited to hear. And once you hit that nail, say that continuously in different shapes and forms. Say that on LinkedIn, say that on Twitter if you are in a B2B environment, say that on Instagram if you are in a B2C environment. Most marketing teams tend to focus a lot on removing friction. It is where you should start, undoubtedly. If it is the first thing that you are doing in a marketing team, you have to reduce friction. But the problem is a lot of them get comfortable there. Don't let yourself be comfortable in just reducing friction. When you're reducing friction, you are almost working through a checklist of most common items, and 90 to 95% of those items are similar across business lines. The problem when you're creating demand is there isn't a formula. The strategy and tactics depend on the business, on your product, on your solution, on the assets you have, on the customers, on what the customers care about, so on and so forth. The solution is unique to your situation, and that is why it is always messier, and that is why it is always hard. But because it is hard, that is where you will get the best results. And that is it for this episode, where we talked a little bit about friction, a little bit about brand, a little bit about demand, and a little bit about what ad momenta also does, which is position, brand, and then market. That's it for this episode on ads and tails. For more B2B marketing stories, insights, strategies, tactics, and views, keep listening to Ads and Tails. You can also check out the Ads and Tails newsletter to help you crack the code for B2B marketing. And if you need any help in solving any of your B2B marketing problems, check out admomenta.com. This is your host Sid signing off. This is Ads and Tails.